Hey everyone, I'm back. Welcome to another episode of Walk Around the Block. Let's go. It's another walk around the block and welcome to the Lower Highlands. We're starting off on the farthest eastern edge of the Highland neighborhood here at the Platte River. Lower Highland is abbreviated as LoHi, interchange between both, and I think the name actually really came as a result of real estate agents and developers pushing to rebrand the area, which was originally known as the town of Highland. It's an incredible, dynamic location, and I can't wait to show you what it's all about. Originally founded in 1858, the town of Highland was created to promote fresh, clean air from, the city down below, which was Denver and our area. And in 1875, it had finally formed its own government. It was a town of Highlands, and they had annexed Potter Highlands and Highland Park. But then the silver crash of the late 1800s forced Denver to annex the area due to infrastructure problems and finance issues, and that's the history of LoHi. Mentioning earlier, the borders of the neighborhood really start at the Platte River on the east, and then you've got Federal Boulevard to the west. You've got 38th Avenue to the north, and then you've got its spear that kind of hugs the bottom part of the neighborhood. It's a mixture of so many different neighborhoods, but collectively it's known as the Lower Highland. Between Potter Highlands, the Scottish Highlands, and the Lower Highlands, it's quite confusing. You can't tell what's what, but we all call it LoHi or Lower Highlands. Now you're probably wondering why you want to live in the Lower Highlands. Bunch of reasons, but the biggest one is location. You're located literally right next door to downtown Denver. You're bisected by I-25, but because it's buried, you really don't hear it. And the other part of that is the incredible walkability, the dynamic nightlife, the restaurant scene, the bar scene. It's just such an exciting neighborhood. It's a destination. It's a great place to live, work, and play. And best of all, you're right in the middle of all of Denver, Colorado. All right. Also known by the old school Denver locals as the North Side. That's how I grew up calling the neighborhood. The North Side, there's so much to do, and if you were to ask me what's a day here like, all right, I would say get your cup of coffee started at the North Side Eatery, or maybe Blue Sparrow Coffee Shop on Platte Street. Then you're gonna wanna look at let's go to Bar Taco for lunch. Honestly, the best pork belly tacos. Yee! Then there's classics like the LoHi Steak Bar, or if you're looking for a midday drink, head on over to Williams and Graham Bookseller. It's a great place to be and a great place to spend a day. All right, so what kind of housing stock is offered here in the Lower Highlands? What's interesting is because the neighborhood was built turn of the century, or actually mid of the 18th century, a lot of the homes you'll find are craftsman bungalows, you'll see row homes, you'll see old school apartments. And then you had, what's interesting about the neighborhood is that you get to see all the stuff from the 40s and the 50s, the classic ranches. And then you've got this new wave of new construction of ultra modern row homes and condos and apartments that have really made the neighborhood even more dense. What's interesting about the neighborhood is that this used to be a very, very depressed area in terms of price, but because of its surge in new residents and revitalization, the neighborhood's average median price now is hovering right around $797,000, which is a 22% jump from year over year. The most craziest thing that goes to show you the type of economic power that's going into the neighborhood is that it skyrocketed from 2.5 million being the highest sale in 2020, and in 2021 it shattered records at a basically 100% increase at the most expensive home in LoHi, selling for over $5 million. Pretty incredible, and goes to show you how far this neighborhood has come. Now, a lot of people ask what's the vibe like in the neighborhood. It's trendy, it's hip, it's happening. There's a lot of money here, a lot of new wealth, a lot of millennials that are moving in. And it's actually the older millennials, and it's people that are looking for kind of the Brooklyn to Denver. And it feels like every week a new restaurant is opening up, a new bar is opening up, and there's just really such a cool energy, especially with all the different transplants that are moving into our town. All right, so best place for date night, huh? God, that's so tough. It's like trying to answer who's your favorite child out of your children. There's so many great places in LoHi to eat, and because of the history of the neighborhood of, you know, the old Italian migration, the old Mexican migration, and now this new wave, right? There's just such a mashup. But look, for old school dining, I would say Gaetano's. It's an institution, and it's one of the last few remaining in the neighborhood. For Mexican, I mean, La Loma, not technically in LoHi, it's in Jefferson Park, but you know, it's right there. And then I would say for new, you know, there's your classics like Root Down, which is, I think, the catalyst of what started the rebirth of the neighborhood. You've got L5, Linger, Sushi Ronin. There's so many to pick from. You can't go wrong with any of these places. All right, so one of the best places for coffee, at least in my opinion, there's so many to pick from, and I'm shouting them all out. The Collective, Blue Sparrow, you've got Northside, but I'm gonna say that I think the best place for a cup of coffee here to experience a LoHi neighborhood is at the Bindery. Grab a cup of coffee, grab yourself a pastry, sit down. The people watching is incredible, but the views of downtown Denver are even more incredible. All right, when it comes to the best watering hole in LoHi, there's so many to pick from, so it's tough for me to say what's my favorite. But as of late, if you're looking for a place to really experience the crowd, the vibe, the everything, check out the latest place, Happy Camper. The place is always happening, the decor is incredible, the drinks are just as good, and the people watching is absolutely incredible. Thanks for joining me on this month's Walk Around the Block in LoHi. Be sure to check out next month's. We'll talk to you then. Bye.